Liam Carter stepped off the spacecraft onto the surface of Zethera, his boots sinking slightly into the strange, metallic red soil. The air was thick with the scent of alien flora, and a faint electric hum that seemed to come from the sky itself. He adjusted his armored suit and took in his surroundings. Towering structures shaped like crystalline spires glimmered in the sunlight. Zethera was nothing like Earth, yet it radiated power, history, and pride. A crowd had gathered near the Grand Plaza, their faces painted with curiosity, skepticism, and a hint of amusement. Humans were rare here. Liam was the first to arrive as part of a diplomatic mission, though the planet had already heard whispers of his reputation. A soldier who had faced countless dangers and returned victorious. Among the crowd, a young alien woman with bright violet eyes and silver hair watched him with clear disdain. She was Princess Valira, the heir to Zethera's throne. She had been told of the human and she found him laughable. "You call this a warrior?" she murmured to her attendant, her voice dripping with mockery. "He looks like he might break in a strong breeze." Liam, unaware of her words, walked with steady confidence. He did not need to respond. Action spoke louder than words, and he knew he would prove himself without the need for boasting. The plaza was filled with beings of all shapes and sizes. Some had 4 arms, others moved with fluid grace on legs that seemed too long for their bodies. The alien technology around them was beyond anything humans had developed. Hovering platforms, transparent screens with glowing symbols, and weapons that hummed with energy. Yet despite the alien advantages, Liam felt calm. He had faced worse. Survival often depended not on strength alone, but on quick thinking, creativity, and courage, qualities he carried in abundance. The welcoming ceremony began with music unlike any Liam had ever heard. The sound was haunting yet mesmerizing, vibrating through his chest and filling his senses. Valira, standing atop a raised platform, made her disdain obvious with a casual tilt of her head and a smirk that seemed designed to wound. She had been trained to see humans as weak, simple creatures easy to dismiss. This human, however, would not bend or flinch. That fact both intrigued and annoyed her. Liam approached the central stage where the alien elders waited. Their faces were unreadable masks and their eyes glowed faintly, a sign of the mental enhancement their species possessed. They watched him silently, measuring, judging. He bowed slightly as custom demanded, respecting their rituals while remaining aware of their scrutiny. Valira could no longer hide her irritation. "Look at him," she whispered again to her attendant. "He wears armor that looks fragile. He carries no real weapon. How dare he come here and think he belongs among us?" A voice boomed across the plaza, clear and commanding. It was the alien queen, Valira's mother. "Let him enter the trial of might. Let his strength show and let the court decide if he is worthy of Zethera's respect." Murmurs spread through the crowd. The trial of might was a sacred test, a challenge that usually determined the value of warriors and diplomats alike. No outsider had ever succeeded, and most humans would never even survive the first round. Yet Liam stepped forward calmly, letting the challenge come to him. The arena was massive, circular, with multiple levels for spectators. It was filled with obstacles, both natural and constructed, designed to test agility, strength, intelligence, and strategy. Alien warriors entered first, their bodies glinting in ceremonial armor, their movements precise and practiced. Liam studied them quietly, noting patterns in their motions. Humans often relied on instinct and unpredictability, and he intended to use both. The trial began with a simple command: advance. Aliens moved with synchronized precision, attacking in perfect formation. Liam waited, then sidestepped, ducked, and used their momentum against them. Every move was deliberate yet fluid. He improvised where necessary, using the arena itself as a tool, leaping over barriers, sliding under strikes, and striking only when an opening appeared. Valira's eyes widened as she watched him. This human whom she had mocked so confidently was performing beyond expectation. Each maneuver was clever, unpredictable, and effective. He was small compared to the Zetheran warriors, but size had never mattered to a soldier like him. Liam's calm in the face of danger, his focus and his creativity slowly silenced the audience. Gasps and whispers replaced laughter. By the end of the first round, Liam had bested several elite fighters, not by sheer force but through intelligence and adaptability. He had survived when others would have failed, and he had impressed even the most skeptical elders. Valira's pride hurt more than she expected. Her smirk faded, replaced by a strange mix of curiosity and irritation. How could someone so weak-looking, so primitive, outperform the finest warriors of Zithera? Her mind refused to accept it. The queen's voice echoed once more. Observe closely, for strength comes in many forms. Even the smallest flame can burn brightly. Liam lowered his stance, ready for the next stage of the trial. He did not yet know the full significance of his presence here, nor the challenges ahead, but he understood one thing clearly. On Zithera, humans were underestimated at their own risk, and Liam Carter intended to show them why. The trial of might continued as the alien elders called the next stage. Liam stood in the center of the arena, his eyes scanning the unusual terrain. The ground had shifted since the first round, with jagged crystal formations rising from the floor and glowing energy barriers blocking certain paths. The trial was not merely about strength. It tested intelligence, reflexes, and strategy. Valira, standing high above in her observation platform, crossed her arms and frowned. She had expected to see the human falter, to be humiliated by the superior warriors of Zithera. Instead, he had survived the first round with skill and calmness that even she could not ignore. Her pride ached, but a small, reluctant curiosity stirred within her. The next wave of challengers entered. These warriors were faster, more precise, and their weapons pulsed with energy. Liam adjusted his stance, weighing his options. He did not have alien enhancements, but he had something they did not: imagination, unpredictability, and a refusal to give in to fear. The first fighter lunged at him with a blade that emitted a bright, dangerous light. Liam sidestepped, barely, feeling the heat brush past his shoulder. Using the momentum of the attack, he pushed the alien slightly off balance and rolled to the side. The alien stumbled but recovered quickly, snarling in surprise. Liam knew this was only the beginning. He dodged, countered, and improvised. When the path was blocked by a rising crystal, he leaped onto it, using it as a platform to reach an unexpected angle. When an energy barrier tried to trap him, he manipulated its control panel with quick thinking and disrupted the pattern. Every movement was calculated yet flexible. From her vantage point, Valira's violet eyes widened. He moved differently than any warrior she had ever seen. Humans were usually predictable, she thought, relying on raw strength or brute force, but Liam's style was chaotic in appearance yet precise in effect. He adapted to every new situation, turning obstacles into advantages. Other challengers approached, and Liam did not hesitate. He used the terrain, the fighter's own momentum, and clever feints to evade their attacks. Some aliens tried to trap him, coordinating in pairs, but he anticipated their moves, splitting them apart with strategic timing. The audience was silent for a moment, captivated by the human's unexpected prowess. Valira clenched her fists. Her initial amusement had vanished, replaced by something unfamiliar. He was strong, clever, and calm under pressure, a combination she had never expected from a human. Senior. The crowd gasped. Even seasoned Zitheran warriors were impressed. Liam's endurance, quick thinking, and creativity were unmatched. He did not rely on power alone, and that difference made him almost impossible to predict. Valira's heart raced. For the first time, she realized that humans could be formidable, and perhaps stronger than some Zitherans in ways her culture did not value. Pride warred with curiosity, and she found herself unable to look away. Every time Liam overcame an obstacle, she felt a twinge of both admiration and irritation. Liam paused for a moment, surveying the arena and his opponents. He noticed a small pattern in their movements, a slight hesitation between their attacks. Exploiting it, he feinted left, then struck with a precise maneuver that disarmed one of the aliens. Another followed quickly, but Liam dodged and pushed it toward the arena's edge. It stumbled, giving him the upper hand. By the end of the stage, Liam had outmaneuvered all challengers. His suit was scratched and he bore minor bruises, but he stood tall and calm, his breathing steady. The elders exchanged silent glances, and the audience erupted into applause and murmurs of astonishment. Even the normally stern warriors whispered about the human skill. Valira, though still hiding it behind a controlled expression, felt a flicker of respect. She realized that mocking him had been premature. He was not just a visitor, not just a human. He was a warrior who could survive, adapt, and outthink her finest soldiers. When the Queen's voice echoed across the arena, announcing that the first part of the trial was complete, Liam lowered his stance and waited. He did not gloat, did not show arrogance. He simply had done what he needed to do, survive and demonstrate his strength. Valira looked at him again, her violet eyes sharper now. She thought of all the times she had dismissed humans, laughed at their weakness, and believed they were incapable of true courage. That belief was crumbling before her very eyes. The Queen spoke again, her tone calm but commanding. "Observe carefully, for strength comes in many forms. Even the smallest flame can illuminate the darkness." Liam straightened, prepared for the next stage. He did not know exactly what awaited him, but he understood one truth. His presence on Zithra was not for display alone. His abilities would be tested, respected, and perhaps feared. And in that moment, as the alien sun reflected off the crystalline towers of the city, Liam Carter knew he had already begun to change the way Zithra saw humans. The arena had quieted after Liam's astonishing performance, but the tension in the palace lingered. While many aliens whispered in awe about his skill, not everyone was pleased. Some in the court were wary of humans, fearing what a creature they had always considered weak might accomplish. Among them, a few elders and rogue nobles began plotting, their minds filled with ambition and resentment. Meanwhile, Valira could not stop thinking about the human warrior. She had mocked him at first, confident that her people were superior in every way. But now she saw something undeniable. Liam was not just strong. He was clever, brave, and remarkably composed under pressure. Her pride bristled at the thought that a human might have qualities her species rarely valued. She had trained her entire life to fight, strategize, and lead, yet this one outsider had surpassed her expectations. Later that evening, Liam walked through the palace gardens, taking in the alien flora. Towering plants with shimmering leaves and flowers that glowed softly in the dim light surrounded him. The air was fragrant and calm, a stark contrast to the chaos of the trial. Even here, however, he remained vigilant. He had learned to trust his instincts. On a planet like Zithra, appearances could be deceiving. A soft voice interrupted his thoughts. "Human," it said. Liam turned to see Princess Valira approaching, her expression guarded but curious. "You survived the trial of might. With skill no outsider has shown before. I did not expect this." Liam inclined his head politely. "Thank you, Princess. I am here to do my duty, not to impress. But I am ready for any challenge." Valira raised an eyebrow. "Your duty, yes. But your ability is extraordinary. Even our best warriors struggled with the trial. You adapt. You learn. You survive. And that is unusual for a human." Liam smiled faintly. "Humans are adaptable. We rely on our minds as much as our strength. Sometimes that gives us an advantage." Valira studied him, intrigued despite herself. She realized that he was unlike any visitor she had ever known. Perhaps there was more to humans than her culture had taught. Before she could respond, a messenger arrived, panting and alarmed. "Princess Valira, the northern sector of the palace is under attack," the messenger shouted. "Rogue factions have broken through the defenses. They aim for the royal council." Chaos erupted. Aliens rushed to intercept the intruders, and alarms blared throughout the palace. Liam instinctively moved toward the disturbance, ready to assist. Valira, despite her surprise and fear, followed, recognizing that the human skills could be invaluable. They arrived at the northern courtyard to see a group of heavily armed insurgents attempting to breach the council chamber. The attackers were trained and coordinated, unlike any ordinary rebels. Liam assessed the situation quickly, noting weak points in their formation and how the palace defenses could be used against them. "Human," Valira said, her tone no longer mocking. "We must stop them."
"Can you help me?"
"I can," Liam replied calmly. "We need to divide them and control the entrances. Follow my lead." Working together, Liam and Valira orchestrated a rapid counterattack. He moved with precise timing, using alien weapons and defensive systems in ways the insurgents did not anticipate. Valira, initially skeptical of his approach, found herself relying on his instincts and quick thinking. His strategies were unlike anything she had been taught. They were clever, adaptable, and unpredictable. The insurgents, confident in their numerical advantage, were caught off guard. Liam anticipated their attacks, directing Valira and the palace guards to intercept from unexpected angles. One by one, the rogue fighters were subdued, their plans failing against the humans' ingenuity and the combined force of Zithran warriors. After the last intruder was captured, Valira turned to Liam. You saved the council. And perhaps the entire palace, she said, her voice a mixture of awe and surprise. I thought humans were weak, incapable of strategic thinking at this level. But I was wrong. Liam shook his head gently. Strength comes in many forms. Some fight with weapons, others with their minds. Together we can overcome even the most dangerous threats. Valira's respect for him grew, tempered by her pride. She could not deny that the human had proven himself not only in the arena, but in real danger. She had mocked him, but now she understood that his value went far beyond appearances. The queen appeared at the courtyard entrance, her gaze sweeping over the aftermath. I have observed you, human, she said, her voice calm but commanding. You show courage, intelligence, and an understanding of strategy that is rare even among Zithra's finest. You have earned recognition, but remember, the galaxy is vast and threats are many. Liam bowed slightly. Thank you, Your Majesty. I will do my best to serve in any way I can. Valira watched him, feeling a strange sense of humility. This human, whom she had mocked, had demonstrated qualities that no Zithran could ignore. Strength, intelligence, courage, and honor. He possessed them all. She realized that learning from him could change not only her understanding of humans, but her own approach to leadership and combat. As the palace settled back into order, Liam and Valira walked through the gardens once more. The tension had eased, but the experience left an impression on both. Valira now viewed him with curiosity and cautious admiration, and Liam understood that earning respect on Zithra required more than physical skill. It required trust, integrity, and courage. The sun set behind the crystalline towers, casting long shadows across the palace grounds. It marked not only the end of one challenge, but the beginning of another. Liam Carter had survived the I will, Liam said firmly. We cannot let them breach the palace again. We need strategy, coordination, and quick action. Valira nodded, a flicker of respect in her eyes. She had learned to trust him in the trial, but now in real combat. She felt that his guidance might save lives. She assembled the palace guards, and together with Liam, they planned the defense. The courtyard and palace walls were fortified with alien energy barriers and advanced weapons. But the rogue faction was large and well-armed. Liam studied their tactics, noticing patterns and weaknesses. He instructed the guards to set traps and ambush points, while he and Valira led smaller squads to intercept the enemy directly. As the first wave of attackers approached, Liam moved swiftly, coordinating strikes and using the palace's defenses in ways the attackers could not predict. He leapt onto a barricade, using it as a vantage point to direct the defenders. Valira followed, engaging the enemy with precision and strength, her movements faster and more calculated than ever before. The rogue warriors were skilled, but they were not expecting the combination of human ingenuity and Zithran strength. Liam used the environment cleverly, rolling energy barrels toward groups of attackers, creating temporary walls with debris, and guiding the guards to attack weak points. Valira was impressed. She had never seen anyone use the palace itself as a weapon so effectively. At one point, a group of attackers tried to flank them. Liam spotted them first, signaling to Valira. She moved with lightning speed, intercepting them mid-charge, while Liam used a series of clever maneuvers to disarm the others. Together they made a perfect team, each compensating for the other's weaknesses and enhancing strengths. The battle raged on, and Liam noticed that the enemy was beginning to falter. Their coordination broke down as Liam anticipated their every move. Even the most experienced Zithran warriors were impressed by his tactical thinking. Valira could hardly believe what she was seeing. The human she had mocked was now a vital force in the defense of her kingdom. As the fight reached its climax, the leader of the rogue faction appeared, wielding a blade that shimmered with deadly energy. He challenged Liam directly, believing the human was the weaker opponent. Liam accepted the challenge without hesitation, meeting the alien in the middle of the courtyard. Their fight was intense. The rogue leader was strong, fast, and skilled, but Liam relied on strategy, observation, and adaptability. He dodged, countered, and used the environment to his advantage, turning walls, pillars, and debris into tools of defense. Each move was calculated, precise, and effective. Valira watched, her heart pounding, as Liam eventually disarmed the leader, sending his weapon clattering across the floor. The rogue warriors, seeing their leader defeated, lost morale and scattered. The palace guards moved quickly to secure the remaining attackers, ending the battle. The courtyard was filled with the sounds of heavy breathing and the clatter of fallen weapons. Liam stood tall, unscathed except for minor scratches, while Valira approached him, her face showing a mixture of awe, relief, and newfound respect. You have saved the palace again?" Valira said, her voice quieter than usual. "I mocked you before, believing humans were weak and fragile. I was wrong. You are extraordinary." Liam shook his head slightly, humble. "I only did what was necessary. Strength is not only about power. It is about understanding, strategy, and courage. We fight not for pride, but to protect what matters." Valira's expression softened. She had learned a valuable lesson. Humans were not to be underestimated. They were capable of creativity, bravery, and resilience that surpassed expectations. The arrogance she had felt earlier was replaced by admiration, tinged with humility. The queen appeared once more, her presence commanding and calm. She surveyed the aftermath and nodded approvingly. "You have demonstrated more than strength, human," she said. "You have shown intelligence, courage, and honor. These qualities are rare even among the finest of Zithera. You have earned respect not by birth or title, but by your actions." Valira stood beside Liam, absorbing the queen's words. For the first time, she truly understood the value of his presence. The human who had arrived to a world that doubted him had proven himself worthy of trust, respect, and admiration. As the sun set behind the crystalline towers of Zithera, casting long shadows across the city, Liam and Valira surveyed the courtyard together. They had faced danger, fought side by side, and emerged victorious. The battle had not only secured the palace, but had also begun to change the way humans were seen on this alien world. Valira looked at Liam with a new perspective. She no longer saw him as fragile or weak. Instead, she saw a warrior, a partner, and perhaps something more. Liam's calm courage, clever thinking, and unwavering resolve had left an impression that could not be ignored. And in that moment, both realized that the challenges ahead would be many, but together they could face them. The bond formed in battle had shifted their relationship forever, from mockery to respect, and perhaps the beginnings of trust. The city was safe for now, but the galaxy beyond Zithera awaited, and Liam Carter had already proven that humans could rise to challenges that no one had anticipated. The aftermath of the battle left the palace in a tense but controlled state. Guards patrolled the corridors, ensuring no remnants of the rogue faction remained, while engineers repaired damaged defenses. Liam Carter stood quietly near the palace gates, his suit scratched and slightly dented, but his posture calm and unyielding. He had proven himself in combat, yet he sensed that the greatest challenge had not yet arrived. Princess Valira approached him, her violet eyes reflecting a mix of admiration and uncertainty. The events of the past days had changed her perception of humans entirely. The arrogance she had carried was replaced by a new awareness. This human, whom she had once mocked, was capable of far more than anyone in Zithera had expected. Before she could speak, the grand doors of the palace opened. The alien queen entered, her presence commanding immediate attention. Her silver hair shimmered in the soft light, and her eyes, glowing faintly with authority, swept over the courtyard. The crowd of soldiers, nobles, and observers fell silent. Even Valira felt a shiver of awe. The queen's gaze settled on Liam. "Human," she began, her voice steady and powerful. "You have proven courage, skill, and honor that surpass expectation. You have defended this palace, our people, and even the heir to the throne. Your actions speak louder than any word or claim." Liam inclined his head respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only acted to protect what was in danger." The queen's eyes softened, but her tone remained resolute. "There is more to your presence here than a simple trial. I have observed you carefully, and the time has come to reveal the truth." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "He is your husband." Valira froze. Her eyes widened in shock, her lips parted, and for a long moment no sound escaped her. What do you mean?" she finally asked, her voice trembling with disbelief. The queen gestured toward Liam. "By decree of the Interstellar Alliance, a union between our species was required to ensure peace and cooperation. You, Valera, are to be joined with him. He is not only a warrior of his people, but also the chosen partner who will stand by your side and strengthen the bond between humans and Zithera. Himself, in every trial, now stood before her not only as an equal but as a partner by decree. The queen continued, her voice echoing with authority. This union is not merely political. It is a recognition of merit, courage, and integrity. Liam Carter has demonstrated qualities that even the finest of Zithera often lack. His presence will strengthen not only our alliance but also your ability to rule and lead. Valera finally spoke, her voice trembling slightly. I mocked him. I believed humans were weak, but he has proven me wrong at every step. He is capable, brave, and clever. I cannot deny that now. Liam inclined his head respectfully. It is not weakness that defines a species, princess. It is courage, ingenuity, and the will to act when it matters most. Humans are not perfect, but we rise to challenges with determination. That is what I offer. Not just strength, but partnership. The queen nodded, her gaze moving between them. You will need to learn from each other, respect one another, and face the galaxy as a united front. This is no easy path, but it is necessary. Harmony between our peoples depends on it. Valera took a deep breath, her mind still spinning from the revelation. She looked at Liam, and for the first time she truly saw him. Not as a human to mock, not as a visitor to underestimate, but as a warrior, a partner, and someone she could rely upon. The lessons of the past days had reshaped her perception, and she knew that she could not ignore the truth of his abilities, his courage, or his character. Liam extended his hand, a gesture of respect and unity. Shall we face what comes together? He asked calmly. Valera hesitated for a moment, then took his hand. The contact was simple, yet it carried a weight far greater than ceremony. In that instant, a partnership was formed, not just by decree, but by mutual recognition of skill, courage, and honor. The queen observed them silently, a faint smile touching her lips. She had known from the beginning that Liam Carter was exceptional, but she also understood that the bond between the human and her daughter would be forged not only through duty, but through respect and shared trials. As the sun dipped below the crystalline towers of Zithera, casting long golden shadows across the palace, Valera and Liam stood together. The revelation of their union had shifted the balance of power, respect, and expectation. From mockery to awe, from skepticism to trust, a new chapter had begun, one that would test both their abilities, their courage, and their understanding of one another. And as the city settled into quiet after the day's turmoil, one truth remained clear. Humans were not to be underestimated, and Liam Carter's presence on Zithera had forever changed the way they would see courage, strength, and honor. The palace was calm, yet beneath the surface tension lingered. Valera walked through the corridors beside Liam, her mind still processing the queen's declaration. He was now officially her husband, a thought that still felt strange even though she could no longer deny his strength and intelligence. She had mocked him before, dismissed him as fragile and weak, but the events of the past days had proven that he was far from that. Liam noticed her thoughtful expression. You seem quiet, he said gently. Are you all right? Valera hesitated, then nodded. I am learning. I am trying to understand how to balance my pride with what I have seen. You're unlike anyone I expected, Liam. I admit I misjudged you. He smiled faintly. It is not easy to change one's perspective. Humans often face that too, but respect grows when actions show true character. The two walked together through the palace gardens, the glowing alien flora casting soft light over the path. For the first time, Valera saw him not just as a warrior, but as someone whose presence could help her lead wisely. Liam's calmness, courage, and cleverness had already saved lives in the palace itself. Now she realized that learning from him could strengthen her leadership and even change how humans were viewed on Zithera. Suddenly, an alert sounded throughout the palace. Engineers and guards hurried past them, and Valera's brow furrowed. Liam immediately analyzed the situation. This is not a small threat, he said. Something is moving against the palace. We should investigate. They arrived at the northern tower where scouts had spotted unusual activity. A group of intruders was attempting to disable the palace's energy shields, planning to create an opening for a larger assault. These attackers were different from the rogue faction they had faced before, faster, more coordinated, and clearly trained. Liam's Instincts sharpened. "We must act carefully," he said. "Brute force alone will not succeed. Strategy and timing are key." Valera nodded, trusting him more than ever. They quickly organized a small squad of elite palace guards. Liam instructed them to use the palace layout to their advantage, turning narrow corridors, energy barriers, and surveillance systems into traps for the intruders. Valera followed his lead, impressed by his calm decisiveness. As the attackers advanced, Liam and Valera moved among them, directing the guards and intervening where necessary. One intruder tried to bypass the defenses using a concealed path, but Liam anticipated it and blocked the route, forcing the enemy into a controlled area where the guards could capture them. Another attempted to breach the energy shields, but Liam used the control panels to redirect the barrier, preventing any damage. Valera watched, her earlier doubts gone completely. The human she had once mocked was now the most reliable strategist she had ever encountered. She realized that strength was not always about raw power. Intelligence, observation, and the ability to adapt were just as important. Liam had all of these qualities in abundance. After the last intruder was subdued, Valera and Liam regrouped. She turned to him, her expression a mix of admiration and curiosity. "I underestimated humans," she said quietly. "I believed strength was only physical, only in skill and weapon. But you have shown me a different kind of strength. A human can be clever, patient, and courageous all at once." Liam inclined his head. "It is true. Humans often adapt to survive. Courage is not just in fighting, but in thinking, planning, and acting when it matters most." Valera smiled faintly. She felt a strange sense of humility, recognizing that she had learned more in a few days than years of her royal training had taught her. Liam's presence was reshaping her perspective, not just about humans, but about herself. The queen appeared once again, her eyes sweeping the courtyard. "You have faced danger, learned to work together, and adapted to challenges," she said. "This is the way leaders grow. Mutual respect and understanding are more powerful than arrogance or pride. You must continue to learn from each other, for the future of both our peoples depends on it." Valera nodded, understanding the weight of the queen's words. She turned to Liam. "Together we will face what comes next," she said. "Your skills, your courage, they will not only protect this palace but teach me how to lead more wisely." Liam smiled, calm as ever. "I will stand by your side, Princess. Not as someone above or below, but as your partner. Together we can face any threat." As the alien sun dipped behind the crystalline towers, casting long shadows over the palace grounds, Valera realized how much she had changed. She had begun to respect humans, to see their value and ingenuity, and most importantly, she had begun to understand the importance of partnership, trust, respect, and courage working together. The palace was safe for now, but new challenges awaited. Liam's presence had already begun to shift the balance of power, not through dominance, but through intellect, bravery, and calm leadership. Valera knew that the road ahead would test both of them, but with trust, respect, and the lessons they had learned together, they were ready. For Valera, the human she had once mocked was no longer a subject of ridicule. He was a teacher, a warrior, and a partner she could rely upon. And as the first stars appeared in the alien sky, she felt the stirring of something she had never expected: confidence in humanity's courage and faith in their shared future. She walked beside him through the palace gardens, their hands brushing occasionally, a silent acknowledgement of partnership and trust. Liam had earned her respect in countless ways, through courage in battle, clever thinking, and calm determination. She had once mocked him, believing humans were fragile and weak, but she had learned otherwise. Humans could rise to challenges that even the most advanced Zitherans struggled to meet. "You have changed more than just my perception," Valera admitted softly. "You have shown me what courage, patience, and strategy truly mean. You make me see things differently, not only about humans, but about myself as a leader." Liam smiled, the faint curve of his lips carrying warmth and reassurance. Leadership is not about pride or dominance. It is about understanding, courage, and the ability to act wisely when it matters most. Humans are not perfect, but we adapt, we think, and we rise to the occasion. I have learned from you as well, Princess. Together we are stronger. Their conversation was interrupted by a messenger arriving from the outer city. Reports indicated that rogue elements from neighboring territories had noticed the human warrior's success and were wary of Zithara's growing strength. They were preparing forces along the borders, testing defenses and watching carefully. Valira's brow furrowed. So, even after all we've done, threats still gather. Liam nodded. Challenges never end. But together we can meet them. Not just with weapons, but with strategy, intelligence, and courage. The galaxy respects those who adapt and survive, not just those who wield power. Over the following days, Valira and Liam worked together to strengthen the palace's defenses, train the guards, and improve relations between humans and Zitherans. Liam introduced ideas that were simple yet effective, ways to combine human ingenuity with Zitheran technology. The soldiers learned quickly, realizing that his tactics were clever, adaptable, and often unpredictable, giving them an edge over any potential enemy. Valira, once dismissive of humans, now spoke to him with genuine admiration. Your ways are different from ours, but effective. I understand now that strength is not only measured by might, but by the mind and the heart. Liam looked at her, calm and steady. And I have learned from your people, Valira. Honor, discipline, and commitment are qualities worth emulating. Together we can combine the best of both worlds. Time passed, and the palace grew stronger, more unified. The people of Zithera began to accept the human not as a guest or outsider, but as a respected figure whose skill, courage, and intelligence had saved their city multiple times. Valira's trust in Liam became evident to all. Their partnership was no longer a political decree, but a true bond formed from shared trials and respect. One evening, as the sun set behind the crystalline towers, Valira and Liam stood together on the highest balcony of the palace. The sky was painted in shades of gold and purple, reflecting off the towers like a sea of lights. The wind carried the faint scent of alien flora, and the city hummed quietly beneath them. You have changed everything, Valira said softly, her hand resting lightly on Liam's arm. Not just my view of humans, but my view of leadership, courage, and trust. You've proven that even someone different can make a difference. Liam looked at the horizon, calm and thoughtful. We are stronger together. Humans and Zitherans may be different, but together we can face threats that neither could manage alone. This is only the beginning. There will be challenges, wars, and tests ahead, but together we can meet them all. Valira smiled, feeling a confidence she had never known before. The fear she had once held toward humans and toward the responsibilities thrust upon her had been replaced with understanding, respect, and hope. She had seen firsthand that humans could be courageous, clever, and unyielding, even in the face of overwhelming odds. The stars began to appear in the alien sky, twinkling like distant fires. Liam and Valira stood side by side, silently acknowledging that their bond was now unbreakable, not by law, not by decree, but by shared trials, mutual respect, and the courage to face the unknown together. And as the night deepened, Zithera's citizens slept safely under their watchful eyes, unaware that their city's future was now secured by a partnership that transcended worlds. Humans and Zitherans alike had learned that strength came in many forms, and that courage, intelligence, and honor were qualities worth respecting, no matter the species. In that quiet moment, Valira realized the truth of what she had once mocked. Humans were not weak. They were unpredictable, adaptable, brave, and capable of inspiring trust and hope. And Liam Carter, the human warrior she had once doubted, was now not only a protector, a strategist, and a partner, but a symbol of what humanity could achieve, even among the stars. Together, they faced the galaxy as equals, ready for whatever challenges awaited. And in their unity, the future of Zithera, and the bond between two very different worlds, was stronger than anyone could have imagined.